Hello, welcome to Miniature Realms, and today's another quick review video. More of an unboxing really than a review, if you can do that with book and cards. So you may have seen recently on the channel, if you haven't, go and check it out. I've done a review of the new British Comet Armoured Squadron starter set, and I picked this up the same time as this book and the command cards and the unit cards. And they're the main parts of the new British Bulge release, which went worldwide live, I believe, on the 15th of October. So fairly new things if you're watching this video around the time of release. Now, I've recently started Flames of War. I've got many projects on the go, including some US Airborne and some Germans to face them afterwards. And British are going to be a little bit further down the line. But having looked at a few things prior to the release and a few reviews or early reviews and things, I couldn't resist jumping in at the start. So I'll pop a link into the other review video now, so you can go and have a look at that if you haven't seen it already. But this is essentially going to be a bit of a thumb through and a flick through of the rules side of the release, shall we say. And I'll be aiming it at newer players like myself. If you're unfamiliar with Flames of War and the way the game works and how it's set up, this might give you a better idea of what you need. Do you need this book? Do you need these cards? What are the cards, etc., etc. Those of you who are existing Flames of War players, you may still find this interesting. You may want to have a closer look at the book and just hear some more thoughts on it before you decide whether to purchase it yourself. So there may be some stuff in here from you as well, and I'll always welcome comments. Now, I'm actually going to start briefly with the cards because I don't want to go through those in great detail. So we'll move the book to the side for now. Your unit cards are exactly that. So they are a collection of cards to use in-game to help you play. And if you're like me and you've got a terrible memory for rules and forget things all the time, they're great. So it gives you a basic formation, this little fold out thing here. Some little reminders for rules. Now this comes in the army starters and things anyway. And then you have got cards for everything that's in your British Bulge book. And it's your full stack cards with all the information you need for all the different incarnations and versions. You don't need this. The rules are in the book. Your starter sets will have cards with it as well. But I know that moving forward, not every single model kit will have a card in it, or it may have a card that relates to the time of its release. So if you pick up a set of, I don't know, certain Shermans from mid-war, while the model itself you could use in different periods, it may well only have a mid-war based card for it. Might not be the best example, but that gives you an idea. And I think they are going to stop listening to the interview they did on Modelling for Advantage channel. It sounds like in the future they may be reducing the number of boxes they have in their range, so that there's not multiple plastic kits of the same thing with different eras. You get one kit, and because there would be too many cards needed to cover it all, those cards may not be available in it. So that's partly why I like to pick up these card sets, so I've got them. You can use Battlefront's Flames of War online army builder. This costs you a little bit of money, not much, to build a list, but then you get the stats there as well. So there are multiple places. You don't need these. I like them in game. I like to do it. Some people are happy to make their own up on a little cheat sheet. So if you're not for you, don't worry about it, but I think they're pretty cool. And then you have your command cards. Again, you can have access to the command cards via the online building place, but other than that, as far as I'm aware, they're not anywhere else. And these are slightly different. These are a set of little extra things to add to your army list. So things, some things are cost a number of points. The odd thing in here is free. I think they add flavor and make the list slightly more, I don't know, give them variety, add some little bit of extra rules here and there just to turn your standard list into something that matches a particular engagement or your favorite conflict or your favorite person, because quite often there's a character in here or a certain unit. So your tank training, Wessex Wyvern, polar bears, Tynan tees. So just add a little bit of flavour based on how particular brigades or divisions or regiments worked, and just fun little things like that. I mean, this is a Avery assault bridge, and look, it looks like you actually can place the card on the table. Now, it might not be for everyone. Some people might want to go and model that, but I quite like it. So for a point, you can add that to your army lists, and it gives you the ability that's on there. I'm not going to go through all of these cards because there's a lot in this set. It might even say on the box. 59 cards. I am not going to go through all 59 cards and talk about what they do. That's better for an audio podcast, that kind of thing. So check out Breakthrough Assault. They do some detailed reviews of these kind of things on their blog or on their audio podcast. And there's some good streams and things like that as well. Fog of War guys did a stream recently on this release, and they talk a little bit more about rules, interactions, and things that more experienced players will cover better anyway. But that's what those do. Now, on to the book itself. So this is your British Bulge, Forces in the Western Front, 1944-45. And it follows the pattern of the other releases for the Western European theatre. So we have the D-Day books for British, German, American, SS, so to speak. Now you have Bulge versions, and we've had US Bulge, we've had American Bulge, we've had German Bulge, and now we've got British Bulge. And it does cover a wide range of things. And one of the, I think, criticisms is that you could have maybe made more books. So you had something that focused just on Market Garden. I know in previous editions, I think there were a lot more books out there. I think the reason for that, I can only imagine, is the amount of cost there is behind producing a publication. These are really good value, in my opinion. I've played a lot of wargame systems over time. These are full colour hardback books, which for most discount retailers you're picking up under sort of £15. Can't remember what I paid for it. I'll pop a little price up on the screen, including that for the unit cards and command cards as well, so you can see what kind of prices they come in at. But compared to some other manufacturers out there, their books at this kind of quality and this kind of size, so that we are looking at 117-18 pages, full colour hardback, you'd be paying £30 for that from a certain games company that we all know what I'm talking about. And these are just incredible value for that, and they're lovely things to have on your shelf, even though you don't necessarily need everything that's in there. So you got your contents page there, and then it covers a number of sort of different historical divisions or actions, that kind of thing, to give you an idea around theming forces. Now, they're not the only way you can build your armies, and you can use those examples in different ways, but I quite like the way they put it through. So what you do, you've got your British special rules here. So each faction has its own special rules. A little bit about tanks and artillery. As I say, I'm not going to read the rules out to you here. I'll leave that to more experienced players on longer podcasts and things that can give you a real idea of the impact on meta. I'm not here talking about that. I am not really a competitive gamer. I may not always use equal points. I know, shock horror. I much prefer to build something around refighting and historical action. So you got a little bit of history and background, which you already get. Some beautiful maps here. So you've got Belgium here, you've got the routes in, you've obviously got Bridge of Nijmegen, we've got Arnhem, very familiar British actions, shows you all the landing points for the different airbornes. You've got the route from 30 Corps, and you've got the German units that are involved as well. So just love the way these are laid out. Very, very simple. You can obviously get this information from the internet, from reading proper historical books and things, but if you're new to the period and you want a nice kind of introductory flavour, it's absolutely lovely to sit and read. Full colour, as I said before, with some lovely pictures. Sorry about the glare. It's almost impossible, I find, at least with an amateur home setup like mine, to review a book without some kind of glare going on. Beautiful pictures of the tanks and things there. Some movement maps for the Ardennes and the Bulge, and I'll carry on flicking through. Know your tanks. I love these pages. Just give you a little bit of introduction to the main tanks that will be used by the forces at the time. Know your inventory. So it talks about your different types of inventory. So your motor companies, your half tracks, parachute companies, kangaroo rifle companies, which is something newer, I believe, your ram kangaroo, glider pilots, and so on. And this is your overall sort of force organization chart. And you can pick your different formations. So you've got black ball formations, desert rat formations, guards, Canadian, and then you've got infantry and airborne here as well. And then you've got all your supporting units that can be taken on top of those as well. Then you've got a bit of history around them. So this is your 11th Armoured Division, which are obviously quite famous and quite well known if you follow this sort of area of military history in World War II. And then you've got this kind of an idea of how the armor division was laid up, who was in it, and quite handily actually shows you the markings that would go with each of these, which would relate to your decals and things as well. So that's a really nice little touch there, to save you doing a little bit more research. Again, lots more color maps and history, talking about the crews of tanks, your comments, your cromwells and challenges, etc. And then we come on to, we start getting to the rules. So we're 26 pages in before we really get into the rules as such. And it gives you your first formation, which is the Combat Armor Squadron, can't speak. And your stats, like I said, are in there anyway. So you can build your lists just from this and different points depending on the number that you take. As I said, I'm not going to focus on the rules too much, but you can see all the different units that are covered. And then they talk about the 15th to 19th King's Royal Hussars, which is a way of introducing the Hussars Armoured Squadron as well, really. So 7th Armoured Division, the Desert Rats, which we all know from the exploits in North Africa, obviously a very big part of the Normandy breakout. And again, 7th Armoured Division gives you an idea of what actual battalions and regiments were included, and helps you with what would be the markings as well. Beyond Normandy, we start moving into Belgium. So while it says Bulge, this really does cover breakout through to Berlin, really. Welsh Guards. So you got Cromwell Armoured Squadron. It's more of a generic. Again, all the stats and things included. Guards Armoured Division. So this was the Guard, which are normally infantry regiments, were some of them were made into tank regiments earlier in the war when they realised that they needed more armoured and mobile units. So some of them were taught to drive tanks, which is quite fun for these really tall 6 foot plus guides. But it's a really nice story around that. And I actually watched a video on YouTube the other day, which shows that in Germany at the end, when they had a big ceremony they did when they gave their tanks back and they came back to being standard infantry regiments. It was really, really quite a nice, cool thing, which I hadn't come across before. So very nice. So Irish Guards in the Netherlands, and you've got another lovely map here that shows the route of 30 Corps, and looking at Market Garden essentially here. And then Guards Sherman Armoured Squadron, 4th Canadian Armoured Squadron, Ram Armoured Squadron, and you've got Grenadier Guards, and you've got Bridget Nijmegen, Blackpool Motor Company, which I find quite interesting actually. Might be doing something with those, it's tempting. So lots of universal carriers and mortars and things, infantry based. Tanks Guard Brigade, 6th Guard Tanks Brigade, sorry. More about Know Your Churchill. So just little bits put all the way through. Cuckoo, so a captured panther, rules for that in game there. 51st Highland Division, so crossing the Rhine there, it's going into Germany. Kangaroo Rifle Company, so it's riding these Ram Kangaroos, which you get in your starter. Turning them into transports essentially. Ram Kangaroo Transport, 6-pounders. And then we've got 1st Airborne Division, so Red Devils, everyone knows about this. This is Market Garden, Bridge Too Far. And some nice maps and things there that you can think about building stuff on. I think there's a campaign set out at the moment, a Firestorm campaign, which I don't know a lot about and what they do. But I think that's based around Market Garden. And I think there was some chatter again early on from some of the early reviews I saw about that people wanted more Market Garden stuff in there, but I feel it's kind of covered. You've obviously got to go and do your own research and things with historical gaming. There's a list, there's a little bit of history for it, and there's a campaign out as well. I don't, yes, it'd be lovely to have a whole big Market Garden book, but I guess Battlefront as a company, make multiple games now, lots of things. So yeah, it'd be lovely to have loads and loads of books, but on the back of still recovering from the pandemic and saw some things in stock, I'm happy that it's kind of covered in this book. There's enough information here to get you started, and part of the fun of wargaming for me anyway is using some imagination and doing some research and thinking, how can I use a certain list in a book to represent something else maybe. But I say that as a new player, that's just my natural reaction to it. So we got more airborne stuff here. So you got Jeep platoons. You've got frost mortar, so this is all frost stuff here. So yeah, there's lots of options here. Glider stuff. Obviously gliders were at Market Garden as well. Daimler on the car support, so different support units. SAS section, I've actually got one of these on order. These are part of the new release as well. They weren't available at the time, part of the initial wave. I'm not sure what the exact release date is. They are still pre-orderable. So I will be getting those when they turn up. I have no idea what I plan to do with them, but I just, yeah, thought it looked cool. And I've built some of these Jeeps recently for the Airborne, and they're nice little kits. Some more other support options, so M10s, 17-pounders, Archers, which is in the new starter set. I've got a couple of those. And go DD Shermans, Crocodiles, Avrays, so lots of other things. Sextants, 25-pounders, land mattresses, what a strange name, and the Priest Field Troop. And then you've got Ulster OP. So you've got lots of stuff here. So your Universal Carriers, your Sherman OPs, Bofors, Typhoon Bomber support. And then you get to the stage of the book where they kind of give you an idea of what you may build from a list. There's a 100-point list here based around the Comet Armoured Squadron and a Daimler support box. The actual Comet Armoured Squadron itself, I believe, builds a list for 104 points, having just reviewed it. So I'm guessing you have some extras in there. I've not compared what they've got here. But again, it's just another example. If you picked up this book, where might you go? And then you have a little bit of painting guide stuff. So these are Vallejo paints. You can pick them up in a paint set as well. And the Colours of War book, I'll definitely recommend. Really, really good. So it gives you an idea of just what uniform colours you may want to pick up as well, but this will expand it further. Basing guide if you're new to the game, so you know how many models to put on a base, etc, etc, and what size bases to use and which way round. A little bit about amphibious battles, a little bit about a linked campaign that you can do, and then you've got a couple of objectives. So you've got from beach landings, yeah, widen the breach, so you could be doing this in landing in Belgium and Holland, I think, as well. I think there were river landings and things and wetland landings. Water rats there, so 3rd Canadian Infantry, nicknamed the Water Rats. So they're using operations from Buffalo's outflanked German positions. So it's not all D-Day stuff that's from water. And you've got rules for Buffalo transports here as well, which is quite cool. And another card there. So hopefully they'll be back. I don't know if they're available. Maybe they'll be direct only. Rhine crossing as well. So I was just talking about there. Some special rules for that. And I'd mentioned earlier the Firestorm Market Garden campaign set as well. So you can purchase this. I don't know how they work yet. I need to look into that. So if you know what these are like, pop it in the comments. It'd be really good to see. And that pretty much takes you to the end of the book. As I said, I love these books. I've been a big fan of them since I've very recently started the game. I still can't get over how much you get for the price for a hardback book. I just don't see it from any other manufacturers. There are other companies who are either too small to afford printing, and it means they're expensive that way because they're in lower numbers, or you pay £30 for them. Still can't believe how cheap they are, and they haven't asked me. I've got no connections with Battlefront, but it's just a genuine reaction to the books, and I'm happy to buy multiple of them and have them on my shelf because they're good value. So anyway, hopefully that's helped you if you are new to Flames of War, or you're undecided about whether to do British as an existing player. A little thumb through there and some natural thoughts on it. I know I ramble on a little bit, but hey ho, that's just me. So thanks very much for watching. Do check out the other Flames of War content on the channel. There's a mixture of kind of general chatter with my vlogs. I'm talking about my own projects and hobbies, some painting tutorials which are a bit more targeted and focused, and there'll be some British ones to follow soon, and just other stuff on there from other game systems. So check it out. If you like what you see, subscribe to the channel, consider liking the video. Thanks very much for watching, take care, and I'll catch you soon.